What's good, Atlanta? This is What's Good Atlanta, finding the best news that really matters. I'm David Perdue.
And I'm Mark Kendall. Each week, we'll give you a rundown of uplifting or even unusual stories from the universe known as Atlanta as we all try to find a little something that's good. So, David, what's one thing that's good with you this week?
All right, so this week, I'm shout out last weekend. It's not Atlanta related specifically, but I was in Norfolk, Nebraska for a comedy festival that honors Johnny Carson, his 100th birthday.
Yeah.
And man, it's a great link when Southerners and Midwesterners link up. It's a lot of yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sirs. So polite. It's an aggressive amount of politeness. I had a great time.
Yeah.
So I just want to shout out the good people of Norfolk, Nebraska. I had a very unexpected amazing time.
That's fantastic.
Because I've never heard of that place in my life. They were great people and we had a great time. What about you?
Yo, so earlier this week, I went to see Kalendra Smith's new play, The Vote. They had a reading presented by Hush Harbor Lab at Theatrical Outfit. Yo, it was everything you would expect from a Kalendra Smith play.
Yes.
I learned stuff. I laughed a bunch. There was twists. Everyone was enjoying it. It was great. So I'm excited to see where that play goes next.
I think, our listeners should go back if they haven't listened to our last episode with her as a guest to give them like an idea of the type of person we have, that you went to go see, because everything you said, I'm like, I bet. I bet.
All right, y'all. So here's what's good with the news this week. Chick-Fil-A just announced a handful of limited peach-themed items for the summer. So there's the peach milkshake, that's coming back. You've got peach lemonade, a fried peach pie, and the peach fruit waffle. So, David, my question to you is this. Is this the perfect amount of Georgia you want in your menu, or is it a bit too much red clay in your sweet tea, if you catch what I'm saying?
All right. So I just want to start by saying, Chick-fil-A, what took you so long? You found it right here in the peach steak. And this is your first crack at a peach-themed menu? Chick-fil-A, I love you. But you had a blind spot here. I don't know who was in charge. But hey, guys, let's get the pecans next. You know what I mean?
Right. Plenty of places around town already got that lemon pepper chicken sandwich, too. You know what I mean?
Like, what are we doing?
I don't know what's going on.
Chick-fil-A, you're taking us for granted, okay? Okay? You can be innovative, too.
Right.
We know you got the Chick-fil-A sandwich on lock, and everybody loves the sandwich, but, get that lemon pepper in there. Get some peach pepper. Try some stuff out. But this is the perfect amount, in my opinion. It's just a little late.
Right.
Sticking with food news, this week Waffle House released cans of Waffle House Cold Brew. 9 locations in Atlanta are testing the new beverage, including location closest to WABE. Mark, what's the next item that Waffle House should make that you would be excited to find at a gas station?
Oh, the Waffle House Vanilla Coke,
Oh.
It's like someone be mixing it, and then you get that. It's different than that canned Vanilla Coke, in my opinion. So it's like if they're able to find a way to get that specific Waffle House ratio of Coca-Cola to vanilla, we're in business, I'm
in shock over here because I've never had vanilla Coke at Waffle House.
You can get vanilla Coke at Waffle House, and they'll add in their own bit of vanilla syrup in there and mix it up for you.
Get out of here.
No, yeah, man.
I thought I consider myself a Waffle House aficionado.
Yeah.
This is breaking news to me.
No, it's important. If you like vanilla Coke.
I love vanilla Coke.
You need to get that at Waffle House, man.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, man, sell the batter. Sell the batter. Everybody got a skillet at home. Sell the batter. Okay? I want to go in the gas station and the way you can buy a carton of milk.
Yeah.
I want to buy a carton of Waffle House batter. I want that.
Right.
Okay? Because I've never had a waffle quite like it. When I make my own waffles.
Yeah.
I know it's asking a lot, but give us the secret sauce. Put that in the bottle.
Yeah. You know what I'd be doing with that batter? It's like I would make a pancake with Waffle House batter.
Now you're talking.
You know what I mean?
Also kind of feels sacrilegious. I feel like.
I know, but it's that uncharted territory. I got to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm with it.
I feel like Benjamin Franklin, I got to fly the kite with the key on it. You know what I mean? In the storm.
I'm with it 100%.
David, it's time for It's Sports.
It's Sports.
Delta is adding flights to Berlin for the Falcons game versus the Colts in November in Germany. So, David, why is this a great setup for Falcons fans?
All right, I'm going to keep it optimistic. I think this is going to be a good year. And so I feel like we're going to get an early morning win, and then you'll have the rest of your Sunday to be happy.
Right.
Okay, I feel like that's a good thing. I will say this. I feel like the flight and the commute to Mercedes-Benz probably the same. You know what I mean? Like it's probably, I feel like there's yes, there's an ocean in between one of the trips, and yet and still I feel like it's the exact same amount of time to get there.
Right.
But I think that's good for us. I think that having an early morning game, honestly, I'm going to put this out there. The game's going to be on so early and we're going to win so early. Y'all going to have time to go to church. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. That was for
Yeah.
people who have to go to church because their grandma. That was for you.
I think another thing, too, for folks that get to go to see that game in Germany in person, you can have a schnitzel while watching the game. You know what I mean? I'm not even entirely sure what a schnitzel is. I think it's like, is that chicken?
I think it's pork.
Oh, it's pork?
I think it's like a pounded out pork.
If you go to that game in person in Germany, you can find out what a schnitzel is and let me know.
Yeah, do some.
You know
One
what
of
I
our
mean?
listeners is for sure going.
Yeah.
Report back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got one more. Inside the NBA ended its current broadcast on TNT this postseason. With the start of the NBA Finals, it was the last time we see Chuck, Kenny, Ernie, and Shaq on TNT. And while the show will still broadcast from Atlanta to some degree, it's the end of an era. So I thought we could run a top five.
Top five.
Okay, Inside the NBA is legendary. Can we name the top 5 gifts we got from Inside the NBA over the last 35 years?
Well, one that I want to throw out there, David, is Kenny and Shaq racing to the screen.
Always.
Always fantastic, you know?
Poor Kenny and his knees knocking against each other.
But that don't stop him. Kenny still be running, you know?
He still be running.
Mm-hmm.
I think arguably my favorite moment of the last 35 is Shaq eating the hot chip. Because, man, like Shaq wants to be tough.
Yeah.
Like he wants to consider himself like a man unflinchable. He flinched, man. Hey, it's okay to admit. He was like, nah, I was just coughing. Yeah, because you were on fire.
Yeah.
I watch that when I'm feeling sad. That brings me so much joy.
You know, David, I'm going to bounce off of what you just said for the third one, because inside the NBA, I feel so much of what I love about it is watching these dudes that like want to be tough, but can't help but show their vulnerability. You know what I mean? As they sort of like analyze and experience this sport that's been so much to them throughout their whole lives, you know?
Yes.
So whether that's Shaq eating a hot chip or whether that's Charles Barkley expressing his frustrations with the players, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or all four of them, you know, arguing about like what's just transpired, their passion for the game and for each other is very clear, you know?
Absolutely. Another one that I have, and I think watching everyone over the years evolve, their relationship, how they communicate, this is a lesson in friendship.
Yeah.
I love how they let Charles Barkley say the same thing 5 times in a row, knowing he's going to do that. And they go, that's just Chuck being Chuck.
Right.
You know? And Ernie kind of quarterbacks it. Or how Kenny is going to say something that makes absolutely no sense. Right? Kenny used to say stuff, he'd be like, you know, it reminds me, it's like sometimes the cook has the frog and the frog jumps over the moon. It's like, that's not even a thing. You just made that up on the spot.
Yeah. Shaq got his Shaqisms with, I got G5 certification for classification.
Yeah, G5, that's not even a thing, Shaquille. You're making it up. I think that understanding friend dynamics, right? Coworker dynamics. Because Ernie gained the ultimate respect, you know? Because there's a lot crazy going on, but I feel like Ernie carries himself with such class and such grace and such knowledge of the game that like it's a perfect blend of friendship. So it was really a gift of like learning, know your role in your group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Know your role in your group.
I'm glad to know that it sounds like they're still going to be recording some episodes from Atlanta from time to time.
Yes.
But one of the favorite gifts I'll throw out there, David, is just random sightings of Charles Barkley in places in Atlanta.
Yes.
There's an open mic. Was it Duffy's?
Oh, you're talking about Neighbor's Pub.
It may have been more than one then.
Okay, because I ran into him at Neighbor's Pub.
There was this mic that I went to do. The spot doesn't exist anymore. It's either Duffy's or Zuffy's, or maybe it was Zuffy's.
Zuffy's, yeah, I remember Zuffy's.
I think I heard about Charles Barkley popping up there once too.
I believe
to also
it.
do open mic. Yeah.
I remember Charles Barkley was at Neighbor's Pub. I was like 2 years into comedy.
Yeah.
And somebody saw him in the bathroom and didn't say nothing to him. And he came out and he was like, what's this? And they were like, it's a comedy show. He grabbed the mic. He said, I just want to thank y'all for not bothering me while I was peeing. I hate when people bother me while I'm peeing, and y'all didn't do that, and that's why I'm grabbing the microphone talking to y'all. Thank y'all so much for not allowing me to pee in peace. And that's when I learned, man, people don't want to be bothered when they peeing.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Look at us spreading knowledge, you know?
I've run into Chuck a few times at either shows or after shows.
Yeah.
Very nice if you let him pee in peace.
Right.
If not, he don't want to be bothered. Another thing I love is how ingrained into the city of Atlanta the non-natives have gotten, right? So I love how upon being here, Shaq just bought Papa John's.
Yeah.
You know, also when the Krispy Kreme burned down, I'm pretty sure Shaq bought that Krispy Kreme.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing Shaq at the Atlanta Punchline one time.
Yeah.
And he shook my hand. I'm a large man and I felt so small, which was a new experience. Also love how Chuck would pop up to, like, I think it was Elliott Street Pub after shows with Underdog. You know what I mean? And he's just watching TV and nobody bothered him. They became part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this is a fun thing. It was a gift. One of the coldest Facebook or Instagram pictures that I have is I was working at the studio, but not for that particular show.
Okay.
And I think it was that night they were doing, like, it was Inside the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they just brought a goat, like a bunch of goats in there. And so when I was going to my car, there were these goats. And the lady, I was like, what's it for? She was like, oh, it's for the Inside the NBA.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then they just let me take a picture with a goat.
That's wild.
So I have a picture with a goat because of these guys.
I love that.
Which is one of my best profile pictures I've ever had. All right. This has been
Top 5.
Top 5.
This has been It's Sports.
It's sports.
And before we go to break, a couple of shout outs for some good news in the city.
Oh, yeah. First, friend of the pod, Magnet Man, who we interviewed right here last year, we reported a few weeks ago that his bike was stolen. But we were happy to say that the community of Atlanta came together to get him a new bike. So he's back out on the streets collecting nails and screws and all the metal trying to send you to the tire shop. So not only is he cleaning up the streets, his forces are bringing people closer for a good cause.
I love that. Also, if you stole Magnum Man's bike, shame on you.
Oh, I know.
It ain't got no seat. So I hope you're having a terrible time.
If you stole that man's bike, you're a super villain.
Yeah. Also, I hope your tires continuously have nails.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep this going. And in a cool story out of Decula, a recent high school graduate swung by his work, a local Burger King, after his graduation ceremony. He just planned to say hey, but then saw that things were slammed. So he jumped behind the counter and picked up a shift, still in his gown, medals, and graduation gear. Someone in the drive-thru caught him on video, started a GoFundMe. Things went viral, and now the young man has $200,000 raised for college. What a whopper of a story. I mean, that young man can now have it his way.
Absolutely. I love that. And lastly, but most certainly not least, we have to shout out the one and only Lois Reitzes, host of City Lights with Lois Reitzes, who is retiring at the end of this month. Lois was the voice of arts and culture in Atlanta, a supporter and advocate of the city's creative spirit, and one of the nicest people you would ever meet. So, David, she was at WABE for 45 years. What's the last time you did something for 45 years?
Still pending.
Right.
I will say I've been doing comedy almost 15 years, and I can't imagine doing it for 45 years. I mean, eventually I'm going to have to, but I can't imagine doing anything that long and doing it that well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like Lois, like, is so much of the art scene and the arts community and like giving folks a platform to share what they do. It's amazing. Lois is the best. Yeah.
What's more amazing is that I have been in the studio several times and still have not met Lois.
David, it's going to change. This is what's going to happen.
Okay.
We're going to find a way for you to interview Lois. I'm calling it right now. You know?
I would love to interview Lois. I think one time we were recording and Lois was next door.
Yeah.
You know how hard it was for me to not stop recording and just go over there and just be like, hey, I don't want to interrupt too much. I just want to say hello, and I think you're great.
Yeah.
You know? But I did because I'm a professional. But in hindsight, I should have been a little less professional.
No, but Lois is such a bright spot of the art scene. I know that for me personally, like being on her show, like that did so much for me and so many of my friends who are artists. And also, one other thing about Lois is just like she treats comedy like the art form that it is. Like not a lot of folks really, I don't know how to put it, but it's just kind of like when you talk to her about comedy, she treats it just like it's classical music.
Like art.
Yeah, just like it's a painting. And she's spoken with like amazing comics. And it's just like her respect for comedy and her understanding of comedy is next level. And that means so much, being a comedian myself.
Absolutely. Big congrats to Lois on an incredible career. We hope this next move gives you more time for more Mozart, Muppets, Mel Brooks, and Motown. If you'd like to catch Lois in person one last time, she'll be at City Lights Cinema on Saturday at the Terra Theater for a screening of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Details are in the show notes, but you should go and take her some chocolates.
And if you're listening to this after Saturday, get yourself some chocolate in honor of Lois. All right. After a quick break, we'll be right back with this week's top story.
And now we're back.
This week's top story. With summer and warmer temperatures comes a bit of a bummer each year, which is hurricane season.
And with each hurricane season comes a list of names that will either live on in history or be forgotten forever.
Yes, I've never heard of a hurricane bring anything but bad news. You know, they're like real life scary movies and very serious, but sometimes not so serious and almost entertaining is the list of potential storm names. So each spring, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or the NOAA, releases potential names for tropical cyclones or storms that could grow into hurricanes.
Mark, have you ever had a hurricane named after you?
I gotta imagine that there's been a hurricane, Mark, at some point, you know, with it just being like fairly common name. I think it would be a hurricane that would, unfortunately, you know, mess things up, but out of a desire to try to please folks, you know, not trying to like cause death and destruction.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, no, I think if a hurricane was named after me, it's definitely a nuisance. It's definitely like, oh, come on, get out of here. You know? Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You still here? It's hanging around too long.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I thought we was having a good time.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're not. Hurricane David, we're not having a good time. You got to go. Right. And I'm like, okay. You know,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not happy about it. So like when I leave, I like knock a few things over because I'm a little mad, but like nothing to harm anybody. Right. That's what a Hurricane David would do. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, this year's list of storm names is really something. I'm going to hit some highlights. First, two that jumped out to me. Both Jerry and Lorenzo are on the list. As you might know, Jerry Lorenzo is the founder of popular brand Fear of God. That's very appropriate for a hurricane name, now that I think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate that I've never been face to face with a hurricane, but I imagine if I was, that would put the fear of God in me at that moment.
Most definitely.
I did not know that, but what I did know is that Barry and Dexter are both on the list, and they're also Emmy Award-winning television shows.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm way more afraid of a Hurricane Dexter than I am a Hurricane Barry.
I saw a little bit of Dexter. I saw all of Barry. By the end of Barry, I was more afraid of Barry, I'm going to say.
I get it. They're both kind of terrifying if you
sure.
think about it. Barry just seems very chill. It's a chill name.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why he makes this more scary to me.
Ah.
You know what I mean?
Barry got that lightning.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, it wasn't even raining. And all of a sudden, lightning.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's too much. All right. But the scariest and wildest name on this list is Karen. Hurricane Karen. Lord help us.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Now, David, what would happen if Tropical Storm Karen swirled up in the Atlantic?
I think it would just say, are you guys supposed to be here?
Right.
Yeah. You supposed to be here?
Mm-hmm.
Just be really annoying. Like the most annoying. It was like, what are you guys doing here?
Right.
I'm going to bother you.
Yeah.
I could be minding my business.
Right. Y'all having a cookout? Not anymore. I don't like that y'all are having a cookout.
Yeah, I'm ruining your cookout.
Mm-hmm.
You guys having a good time? Oh, what was it? The 4th of July? A time to celebrate?
Right.
Not anymore. It's not Hurricane Karen here.
Yeah. Y'all trying to play your music at volume at whatever volume makes sense because you've been in this neighborhood for a long time? Not anymore. I'm going to wipe out the power.
This is my neighborhood.
Yeah.
This is my neighborhood. I'm Karen.
It's my neighborhood. I've been here 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I decide how it is.
Yeah. This is all me. Okay.
Oh, what's the street name called? It doesn't have a street name anymore because I'm going to rip up the street.
I'm ripping the street name.
Yeah.
Bringing some order to this place.
Yeah.
I'm Hurricane Karen.
Right. All right. One other I wanted to mention, Wendy is the 21st name, the last on the list. So that makes sense. You're at the end of the hurricane season. It's cold outside. Storms get a little frosty.
Ooh,
you feel me?
I like that. I like that. And that's our top story.
And that's a wrap on this season of What's Good Atlanta.
We're going to take a quick summer break and be back in the fall with more good news and ways for you to find some uplift in this great city.
That's right. So keep your eyes peeled for a pair or trio, who knows, of live shows this fall when we'll be back with another season of everything that's good in the A. And you know what? I should mention, one good way to ensure we can keep sharing good news in the city is to protect public media. So to support us, WABE, and public media in general, at this moment, visit wabe.org/action. Just a reminder. Thanks, y'all.
Okay, Mark, what's some good that you're taking into this weekend?
Well, David, I'm still on a high from our live episode that we did last week. And so for people that were there in person, you will know that one of the performers that we had on the show was one John Good.
Oh, yeah.
And so some good about John Good is that next month, July 15th, he's got a show coming up, and I want to share about it real quick. So he's got a show called Show and Tell Story Slam. This will be at 7 stages in Little 5 Points, July 15th. The description is your childhood favorite activity brought into your adult life. Bring an item you love, cherish, or just have a great personal story about. Throw your name in the hat. 10 people will be chosen at random to take the stage and tell a true personal story from memory. It's a night of nostalgia, community, and storytelling. Again, that's at 7 stages. Doors are at 6:30, stories at 7, and tickets are available at John Good's Instagram. Get them tickets there.
I love that.
What about yourself, David? What's some good you're taking with you?
All right, since we're about going to break, I just want to say I'm going to take some good into the summer. The great city and the great people of this city is where I often find hope in what oftentimes feels like hopeless situations. It's the community that we create as individuals, as people coming together to enjoy things, to learn about things, to just be the people that we believe we can be, And so that is the thing I'm taking into the summer and into our break is the goodness and kindness of people creating what I like to call little miracles every day that they wake up and go outside and just say, hey, today is going to be a good one. And so I'm taking that into the summer break.
I love that, David. That's well said. Okay, y'all. So we'll be back later this fall after a quick break. And don't forget, you can always send us a message at podcasts@wabe.org and let us know what's good in Atlanta, be it breaking news or maybe just a bright spot from wherever you're checking the weather.
What's Good Atlanta is produced by us in collaboration with Cool Productions and WABE. Our executive producer is Scotty Crow with additional production by Matt Owen. Find more at wabe.org/What's Good Atlanta.
See y'all.
Go Dream.
WABE.